Okay, we're going to move into the evaluation time frame, and I would like to introduce Tim to provide the evaluation for John.
First of all, let's give another round of John for doing the right thing.
All right.
John, the icebreaker is your beginning of that journey, that Toastmaster journey, develop and build your skills. You've stepped out on the road and you're headed down that road. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most distinguished guests, especially John. You do have some strengths you come up with there. And one thing you did well, a lot of people do this on the icebreaker, and it makes sense, is you use your organization chronological. Everything just follows in time. The nice thing about if you're doing a speech and you keep everything, this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, there is an organization. There's a natural organization to having everything in time. And that's the way you did it, and it worked well. You knew when things happened earlier, when things happened later, what things caused other things to happen. It was very effective. You had some humor in there. You mentioned that your first love, and her name was baseball. And no one really expected that, and it came out very well. It was very developed. You can do more of that. Humor is always great. It's an interconnection with your audience. So if you get a chance to use humor, always do. If you have a little bit of humor, think about how you can build it, how you can make it more. And then finally you had stories. This whole thing was a story. You talked about how he was a Sox fan, so therefore you had to be a Cub fan. You set up this rivalry, this conflict. It's important in stories to have conflict, in the back and the forth, where you won something, or there's a problem, or an issue that you need to get. But you can actually have more details. More details and develop the conflict. Your hands were up a lot of the time, and they were almost clenched, and that made you a little bit tense up there. So I would suggest keeping your hands down to the side, keeping them relaxed. Think about your hands, you get them up, they'll tend to get tense, and put them together, they'll get even tenser. So keep them at your sides, you can relax and be comfortable. Eye contact, a lot of the time you're looking down. You really want to look at your audience and make sure you're looking at your audience. That's very important. Always one person, one thought as you go around the room, one person, one thought. And then finally, voice. Voice is something that is a challenge because sometimes our voice will tend to trail off at the end. And your voice did that a fair amount. So you'd start something and then you start something else and it became hard to hear the last thing you said. Think about driving to the end. So you start something, you're driving to the end of that sentence because you're aiming there. Your organization, humor, and stories are strengths. Your hands, eye contact, voice are areas for improvement. John, one thing I did get out of your speech is you reminded me how changeable life is and how